Welcome in to another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined, as always, well, actually, not as always, but we're joined by Andrew Dukowitz from it does feel like as always because you've been on a lot, which has been awesome. We talked a lot of trades, but Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage MN, how you doing?
Good, man. Happy to be back. It's been weird not talking about the NBA for like 5 days, but we're getting back into the swing of it.
Right. It actually has been a nice little break, to be honest with you. I haven't minded this this content break and some fun stuff in between. So before we go, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, give a 5-star rating on Spotify. And before also we go, tell everyone where they can find your podcast and all that jazz.
Oh yeah. Gosh, on social media is ADukeMN, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. I do a lot of Wolves links and Gophers reporting. Post game live streams I do over on X and YouTube. It's missing links for the links, missing Wolves for the Wolves, and then I also do some stuff with KFan and Fox 9. So as always, watch Amy Hawkert's All Day Live. If you have nothing to do during the day, just throw that on in the background, and you might see me every once in a while.
Absolutely. You do great work wherever you're at. Let's just calm people's nerves. So we'll talk about Ant and the MVP and the All-Star game in general in a second here. Obviously, there was a little moment where Ant went to Jalen Johnson and said, I can't wait to be home. What's your read on that? Are you worried at all? Or is that just him at some point wanting to go back to Atlanta?
Yeah, so I'm first going to say this I have not had a chance to talk to Ant or anyone around the team since this. So I know some people on Twitter reached out and were like, someone needs to ask about this, and like I'm sure someone will ask about it, and Ant will probably say something very wholesome or funny because that's what he does. And nor am I in Ant's like inner circle of 5 people that he trusts that he's known since high school. I think Ant is a superstar that's a little different than others. Like, he has a very tight circle that have all known him forever. Nothing really leaks out of that tight circle. That's why you get a lot of speculation online about where and what he's thinking. But like, at the end of the day, like, only Ant and those like 5 or 6 people know what he's actually going to do. Now, that being said, covering the guy for a couple of years, have gotten the chance to talk to him quite a bit. Like, he does legitimately, it seems like, likes being in Minnesota. I've never heard anything to the contrary, that other than like, he likes the vibe here. He likes the fact that he can kind of just go incognito here. Like, there's not just, if Ant goes to LA, Ant's never going to be able to get Chick-fil-A again, because how are you going to get out of your house? But I will say, like, Ant is a very loyal Atlanta guy. Like, I think anyone that's ever been around people or players that have come out of Atlanta and the suburbs around it, like, they are a very tight knit, like, community of people. So do I think it's like, if someone said, you have to choose, does Ant go back to Atlanta at some point, or does he play his entire career in Minnesota? I'd say he probably goes back to Atlanta at some point. That being said, I don't think it's in the near future or even the medium future. I think with his potential to make like $800 million, quite literally, he is going to have a chance to make $1 million per basketball game on his next Supermax contract. And if he were to go to Atlanta, he loses his bird rights, and he's not going to be able to sign that same type of contract. So I think between like liking Minnesota, wanting to win in Minnesota, and how much money he could make in 2028, 29, I think, there's a relatively small chance that he leaves before that 2028, 2029 contract is signed, and probably a couple of years into it. Also, he doesn't seem like a guy that's going to force his way out. Like, I just don't see a situation where he's sitting there doing, the Kevin Durant, like, trade me or else. Now, that being said, things can change, but like, as long as they're winning here, I don't see why he would want out,
Yeah, I agree. And what fans got to remember, like you were mentioning, he's not a free agent until the 29-30 off season. So, I mean, we got tons of seasons to go. Who knows what the NBA is going to look like at that point? I mean, we may have two new teams at that point that could change the entire outlook of the Wolves' future. We could be in a different conference at that point. Like it's so premature to look forward at that and freak out. And like you said, I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to force a trade out of Minnesota, at least not right now, because it wouldn't make any sense. Something would have to go very south for that to happen. But on the positive side for Ant wins the MVP of the All-Star game. Can you believe they actually tried? Or did that shock you or no? Did you see that coming or did you just expect more of the same?
I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was gonna be a lot more of the same. I think it's just a testament to Wemby on the world team. I mean, he made no bones about it. We're going up to that game saying, like, I'm going to try. And if people aren't going to try, I'm going to embarrass them. And then Ant on the Team USA. I mean, it looked like from the jump, he was ready to go in that game, which I don't know if that's like a Wemby Ant rivalry thing. I don't know if that's just, he's not going to go down like looking like he doesn't care, but I think those two really kind of sparked it. I also think there's just like, I don't know if it was the format that necessarily worked. I still kind of out on that one, but like Kawhi scoring 31 like in a quarter, that was awesome. Cade and Jalen Duren were both like really locked in doing things. I think it was, there's obviously still some guys that were kind of coasting like Jokic, LeBron, who knows, but
Right.
I think it was a lot more fun than it has been in a while. So maybe it is just as simple as like you get players to start trash talking and make it personal. And I kind of tweeted out afterwards, like, the best thing for that game is that Ant's going to have the All-Star MVP trophy, because I guarantee you he's going to bring that up every game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And he's barking at his idol, which they bring it up every time, Kevin Durant. He's playing with all the guys. He's showing out. And interesting fact here: 8 of the last 9 All-Star Game MVPs have won at least one championship. 4 of them went to the finals the year that they won the MVP. LeBron, Durant, Curry, and Giannis, and 2 of them won it in the same year. Curry and Giannis. Can you name the only player in the last 10 years that has won the All-Star Game MVP and has not won a championship? Not the same year, but ever.
I only know this because they said it about 47 times on Twitter when
Oh,
Dame was winning the 3-point contest. It's Dame.
Oh, it's yeah.
Yeah. The national media ruined that one for you.
I guess we follow different people on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, what does this mean for? I mean, where does this rank in? How much do you think this All-Star Game MVP means to Ant personally? And then how much does it mean to the franchise in general? Like, do you think Ant really cares about this, or is just going to collect dust in his mantle?
Ant's such a hard person to figure out because, he doesn't really care about a lot of things, but I do think getting this award over some of his idols, right? Like he got it over Kawhi, he got it over KD, like they won against the world team. Like I do think that'll matter something to him, just like looking, just I again being around him, like I would kind of gather that it might mean more because of those things than here's a trophy. I think for the Wolves, like it means a ton, like to this organization to be able to go out there and say, like, our guy won the All-Star MVP because he cared. Like that's something that I think the Wolves, like, not only just for the team of like, look at who's leading this ship, but for the organization as well, of like, hey, we got the guy. Which again, you mentioned the players that he's in the conversation with, like those are all the guy. Like even Dame was the guy in Portland and almost brought him to the finals a couple times. So I think for the Wolves organization, they have to be really happy. Ant, I'm not too sure how much he's going to be like reflecting on it. I know he'll use it. I would assume he's going to use it for a lot of trash talk. And I think it'll have kind of a special place of like the first of many. But he's such a tough one to figure out because like I can't kind of emphasize enough. Like the dude really is just Kevin Durant. Like he just plays Xbox, hangs out with his family and hoops.
Hopefully he doesn't have as many burner accounts as Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think, in your opinion, is the All-Star game fixed? Like, are you excited for next year's, or was this just a flash in the pan? Like, as long as Wemby is around and not hurt, like, are they just going to follow his example?
I think so. Like, I think it's fixed as long as someone, it doesn't have to be Wemby every year, but as long as someone, just one guy is like, I am going to try, and if you don't, I will embarrass you.
Yeah.
I think it's fixed. Like, it doesn't take the entire team. It doesn't take the same guy every year. But like, if next year, if Jason Tatum's back and they do, world versus US, and Tatum's like, I'm going to make an example of everybody, everyone else will start trying. Because as soon as that like competitiveness starts to flow, I think it rubs off on a lot of those guys pretty quickly, honestly. Like it was in the first quarter, you could kind of tell like, oh, this is different. Like this is just a different all-star game than we've seen. Like guys are actually standing in front of people on on pick and rolls.
And I think the all-star game, well, what impressed me about it the most is I feel like for some reason the guys think that every time down the court they need to throw an alley-oop. It's almost kind of like a Timberwolves fast break where they're always trying to make a 3-on-1 fast break. They're always trying to do an alley-oop or do something fun. I feel like just finishing the play or getting a layup or a dunk, I feel like that was the biggest thing, because honestly it just looks sometimes in the all-star game like they're just chucking it at the rim and hoping someone goes and gets it. In my opinion.
Completely agree with you. I mean, that it does seem like that's been what the trend has been, is just let's almost like I don't know a great comp for it, but like if you've ever seen like when like the parents play the kids and it's like a fourth grade basketball like team playing their parents, and the parents are like doing that like we're too cool for school type of thing. Like it almost has had that vibe where like all the players are just we're too cool for this type of thing. But then again, all it takes is one guy to start trying and all of them are like, oh, I'm not getting dunked on, and then it turns into a big thing, which I don't know if that fixes it, but it definitely, this year's was a lot more fun than, I mean, honestly, I can't even remember the last All-Star game I watched where I'd like genuinely enjoyed it. I normally find myself frustrated.
Yeah. So for my thing was always, I was infatuated with the shot making, like Steph Curry pulling up from half court and making the shot. But then, well, once you get past that, it's like, okay, these players don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. These players would rather be on a beach in Maui or something like that. Like they don't even want to be here. So it felt like in this game, at least, that they wanted to be here. So let's move to the other big thing in the NBA, and then we'll get into the Wolves second half.
Yeah.
Apparently, the NBA front office just found out that tanking is a thing. I thought they already knew that was a thing, but apparently it's on the front of their minds right now. Why are we so worried about tanking at this very moment? And people saying like, oh, we got to get rid of the draft, which, by the way, that's a terrible idea to get rid of the draft. But why are we so worried about tanking right now? Is it just because it's so early in the season, or are there other factors?
Yeah, I do think, I can't remember who reported it out, but someone had reported it out that like the Vegas books were a big driver this All-Star break of talking to people, which like that probably is the most honest reason, is like when you don't know who's going to play, when you don't know who's out for rest, when you don't know if someone's going to get shut down for the season, like it's really hard to make over under numbers for the
Yeah.
entire season. It's really hard to make plus minuses for games. Like it's just a nightmare for Vegas and sports betting. And sports betting is a massive part of the NBA right now.
Yeah.
And if it's hard for those casinos and those books to make like accurate guesses or accurate margins, they get pissed. And then as the consumer, if you are into sports betting, you kind of get pissed because you don't know, like, look at look at Brooklyn now. I mean,
Yeah.
they might not win a game for the rest of the season. Like, how Brooklyn under 20? Like, are you really going to bet on that if you're like a Brooklyn fan?
Against
I
the
also
Wolves,
think,
yes. Against the Wolves, yes.
yeah,
Oh,
certain teams, certainly. Like, they just bought out Cam Thomas for kind of no reason. Like, I just think that's probably the most like on the nail on the head answer is like gambling is a massive driver of sports right now.
Mhm.
And it sucks to gamble on the NBA for half of the season. I do think, you know, I'm not going to say that's the only reason. I do think there is like, you know, certain fan bases, I think, get pretty bummed out when their team is tanking. Certainly we know how that feels here in Minnesota, where it's
Yeah.
like, boy, I hope James Nunley plays well tonight. And
Nathan July is going to go off tonight.
exactly, like there's a lot of there's just a lot of tough, like it's just tough to be a fan where it's like, again, like Utah has a team that could probably make the play in, but now everyone's going to be sitting because they don't want to lose their pick to Oklahoma City. The Clippers kind of in a similar thing where it's like they got to get to a certain protection. I'll be honest, I don't know what the answer is, but like tanking in the NBA is so much bigger of a problem than honestly any other sport. Like baseball, you can tank, but you're not going to see the results for 3 or 4 years as a guy works through the minors. Football, you can tank, but like there's 22 people that all want to like perform and get their incentives. So it's harder. Hockey, I'm not as versed in, but like I feel like if you're going
No,
half
they don't.
speed
They don't. Yeah, they don't get their draft picks until way later. Like,
yeah.
they don't play until 2 or 3 years usually.
And like if you're going half speed on skates, like that just
Yeah.
seems like a terrible idea. It seems like it's just really an NBA problem. I mean, I'll be honest, like I'm not a big draft guy. I think it's weird that like you're picking humans and where they have to play the next 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
I don't know what a better solution is. Like, I think like having an open free agency for draft players is a terrible idea. Like,
Oh, so bad.
no one's going to go to Milwaukee. Like,
Yeah.
that's just objectively, as soon as Shea's out of Oklahoma City, I don't know how many people are going to want to go play in like a place where you got to get like a connecting flight to make it to.
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible idea. I do think one thing I heard floated out there is just making NBA contracts more incentive heavy, where it's like you need to score X amount of points for you to get your full contract. You need to play X amount of games, things like that, where it's like if a coach is pitching, we're going to tank this season, some of the players might be like, hey, I'm going to miss out on half of my contract if we start tanking.
Yeah.
But the players union fought very long and very hard to get guaranteed contracts in the NBA. Are they willing to give that up? Probably not. So moral of this monologue is I have no clue how to fix it. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. If the free agency things happen, or where the players get to pick where they go, we're never getting an Anthony Edwards or a Garnett ever again. It's not going to happen. We'll get the scraps. We'll get the second. It'll be a lot of taking a chance on this guy. And honestly, I personally, as someone who doesn't sports bet, and believe me, I understand it's a big industry. I understand FanDuel Sports Network. It's everywhere. To completely freak out the league and say we need to change something because Vegas is unhappy really pisses me off. Like I gotta be completely like, and don't get me wrong, I know that's where the money's come from. I understand, but just in a pure sports, like as a sports purist, to hear, oh man, the casinos aren't happy, just really, really pisses me off.
Right there with you. I'm not a big gambler, so it irritates me to no end that it takes Mark Cuban talking about free throw violations to
Yeah,
change that. It takes Vegas to fix tanking. It takes, it ultimately it's all kind of where the money is coming from. So I think in this one, like in this specific instance, um, Vegas is right on this one. Like they got to fix tanking. I
right.
wish it was more fan driven of like, man, it really sucks to be a Brooklyn Nets fan right now. Let's figure out how to fix this for them.
Yeah.
Or like after the process Sixers, like, oof, they just traded Drew Holiday for nothing. Like we
Mhm.
got to figure out how to fix this. But unfortunately, they didn't fix it at that time. So hopefully the pressure's at least on now, and there's something that they do, but yeah, it is frustrating that it has to be a giant betting conglomerate that kind of forces their hand, but at least on this one, like the enemy of the enemy, right? Like I
Right.
hate tanking, Vegas hates tanking. I guess I'll team with Vegas on this one.
Right. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, we're all going to be run by him at some point. We
Yeah,
might as well
exactly.
start rehearsing.
Yeah, actually, on this Believe network here, we actually did Underdog, which is a little different than FanDuel. But anyway, I felt kind of dirty doing it. Anyway, so let's get on to the Wolves side of this. Obviously, 26 games left in the season, which, gosh, I feel like this season has gone 2 times faster than last season. It's
Oh my
gone
gosh.
at lightning speed, unbelievably fast. So the Wolves going forward, they have the third hardest strength of schedule remaining. Some of the other teams in the Western Conference, as you would expect, do have hard schedules as well, considering they're playing the Western Conference more. So Denver has the hardest schedule. OKC has the second. Lakers have the eighth. Phoenix with the ninth. San Antonio with the 10th. Golden State with the 16th. Houston actually has an easy schedule, 25th. And then the Clippers with 28. Of course, last year, the T-Wolves, they actually struggled out of the All-Star break and then went on that 17-4 run. What are going to be the keys to finishing strong here and going on a run like they did last year? Because honestly, they're going to need to with all of this tanking. They're going to need to win a lot of games, a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about them coming out this year. Like I think, one thing I know I certainly could have probably talked about more during the trade deadline is just like how much it kind of sucked for certain guys. Like I think even though it's only a few game sample size, like it's pretty obvious Julius was in a weird headspace during
Yeah.
all of January. Jaden and Nas, like their statistics didn't fall off per se, but like I think it was a weird spot for them to be into. Rudy as well. Like it's just, I think it's just weird. Like you're playing for a team that is reportedly shopping your name out, and you're seeing all of these rumors. Like, how invested are you going to be in a day-to-day process? And then also, like, Julius's kids go to school here. Like, his wife likes it here. Like, it's just weird. So I do think now that the roster is set, Finch talks about it pretty often of like, this is the time of the year where you'd have to score 70 points to raise your points per game average. Like,
Right.
stats are meaningless now. I think this team is going to lock in pretty well and start rattling off some wins. Strength of schedule, like I think that's tough, but also like for the Wolves, I think it's a benefit. Like
Yeah.
they wake up for these games. I think
Mhm.
if they had like the 11th strength of schedule, I'd be like, oof, this might be weird. But like
Mhm.
I have no doubt they're going to show up against Dallas this week. I have no doubt when they play Oklahoma City, they're going to wake up for that one. I think they want to get their lick back against Denver. Like, I think this is going to be a team that is going to respond pretty well in the second half. And, I also think they needed a break. Like,
Yeah.
I think just get out of the state, go be with your family. I want to say almost everyone on the team went someplace warm. Like,
Mhm.
everyone in Minnesota needs that, whether you're a basketball player or you're like a FedEx
Yeah.
delivery guy. Like, it sucks to live here for 5 months out of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I went down to Bitty Mosca and took a walk around on that nice day yesterday, and it's just like half of the people are bundled up in coats, half of the people are wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it's 50 degrees. Meanwhile, there's snow on the ground. I even saw some people playing volleyball on a sand volleyball pit that was half snow, half sand. I mean, yeah, like people, you gotta people are wanting spring really, really bad, and it's definitely showing. I will say the Wolves on that 17-4 run last year, like, I mean, just look at their last, 6 games from last year. At Brooklyn, at Philadelphia, which, Philly wasn't what they were this year. At Milwaukee, we all know that collapse. At Memphis, and then Brooklyn and Utah. So they did have a pretty easy go of it to end the season last year, which was a big part of their run. But I mean, Rudy Gobert, if you look at his stats from after the All-Star break last year, I mean, per game, like a plus 11 and shot 70% of the field. I know he can't shoot free throws, but I think he could be a key again this year down the stretch, particularly against some of these bad teams.
Oh, absolutely. Like Rudy, I wrote about it earlier this year of just like he is the quintessential floor riser. Like he is always effort is never a problem. And I think we're to that point of the year now where guys kind of embrace it a little bit more of like, yeah, we don't really need the assist. We don't really need the bucket or the scoring. They get a little more, welcoming of getting the ball to Rudy. And then it's like, as long as Rudy's shelling out, like it's kind of like a proven concept that like Rudy does win games.
Right.
I actually have like a stat here for you, and
go for it.
It's a little long-winded, so
go for it.
Bear with me. Hold on
we got time. We got time.
So every year, regardless if it's been the Wolves or the Lynx, I've been covering the Wolves for 4 years now, the Lynx for 3 years. I, at the end of the season, take a couple stats, add them together where teams rank, and then divide them out by, like simple math, right? So every year I take offensive rating, defensive rating, assist percentage, assist to turnover, and true shooting percentage, where the team ranks that season. Divided by 5, you get one number, right? And I picked those 5 stats because to me, those are like the 5 stats that correlate to winning the most, like offensive rating, defensive rating, obviously. Assist percentage, teams that win the championship usually rank in the top 10. Assist to turnover outside of Golden State normally are top 10. True shooting, the teams don't win unless they're in the top 8 or so. So the Wolves last year at the end of the season, you take those stats, you divide it out, they had a score of 12, so an average rank of 12th in the NBA. I went back 15 years, no team had ever won a championship with a 12.
Oh, really? Wow.
This year they're at a 10.8. Again, went back 15 years. The only team that has won a championship with more than a 10.8 is the Milwaukee Bucks in 2020, 2021. So like, I do think there needs to be a little expectation setting of like, if this Wolves team continues its current course, it would be like a historical championship win. Like most teams that win the ring are like 6 or 8 as their average ranking. The Wolves, it's going to be tough. They're going to play a ton of tough teams. I don't really see a lot of these advanced stats moving a ton. So like, just again, looking back over modern basketball, like it's going to be, there's still like a very outside dark horse champion. That being said, like still going to be a ton of fun. Like last year, Western Conference Finals, like they can still make noise, but I do think when we're looking at this team in the second half, like unless things absolutely flip on their head and change, it's probably a team that's going to be in a really outside shot at a championship and will at least bring a lot of fun.
Yeah, and hey, it's better than being 15-67 or whatever.
Exactly.
It's much better than that. It's much more fun. What I worry about with that is Wolves fans okay, we like I always mention this. We got past the time where making the playoffs is cool. We got into that Memphis series. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And then we got to the Western Conference Finals. It's like, oh wow, we haven't done this in years. And then we did it again. Is there a chance, as crazy as it sounds for this franchise, Wolves fans get bored of making the Western Conference Finals? Like, you never know what you got until it's gone, kind of thing. Like,
I do think, like, again, the reason I bring up that stat is because, like, I do think it's important to, like, expectation set of, like, this team will have a shot at it, but, like, it's gonna be tough. Like, when you're looking at teams throughout history, and it's like a pretty, like, correlation, of, hey, these 5 stats teams are really good at. When you're not really good at them, you don't really have a chance. Even like Oklahoma City last year, like, fell within that range of, like, being sub 10 normally guarantees you have a good shot at it. Like, I do worry that fans are going to look at this season, and, like, if the Wolves sneak in as a 4 seed, you're probably playing Houston in the first round, OKC in the second round, and then Denver in the conference finals. Like, it's gonna kind of suck to be in the playoffs in the West this year.
yeah.
And if they get knocked out of the second round, like, that kind of is just where this team is at right now. So
Yep.
I do worry that if they don't get to the conference finals or to the finals, that Wolves fans will kind of have a backlash on it. I mean, we've already seen all of the Finch, fire Finch hashtags and stuff like that this season. I mean, half the fan base looked like they were ready to trade for Giannis. I do worry about that quite a bit, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, go back through history. I mean, it's hard to win a finals. Like, it is just Jokic has won a finals. Like, it's incredibly difficult. So,
and only been to one too.
yeah.
Only been the greatest player in my mind in the entire world has only been to one NBA Finals, and he had a heck of a supporting cast with that team. I mean, not that Ant doesn't, but there may be some retooling ahead for sure. But you were mentioning finding Rudy down the stretch, and we were talking about Rudy. How about a guy that's already shown that he can? Ayo Dosunmu. I mean, they already have a good connection. I don't know if they were secretly working in the off season or something. I don't think Rudy frequents Chicago that much, but I mean, if Rudy's going to be a key, maybe Ayo's perfect for that. What do you think? I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of the benefit of, I made a joke about it on the post game live of, like, oh my God, he's passing to Rudy so much. Like, does he even know? Does he, like, know that that's not something they do here? But, like, I think Rudy now has Jaden, who passes it to him a lot. Ayo passes it to him a lot. Randall tries to find Rudy kind of in that dunker spot when he's doing his post up things. Like, there's now a few guys that seem to be, like, willing and able passers for Rudy. And Ayo's game, like, quite frankly, fits Rudy. Like, you think of what they were desperately hoping TJ or Rob would be able to do, and it's like, off of an Ant ISO where they send the double, Ant can whip the ball to Ayo, and he has enough quickness to, like, put the ball on the deck, drive by him, and throw that lob up to Rudy when the help comes. Like, people have built careers off of doing that. And Ayo seems like he's really willing and able to do it. So I do think that might not be, like, the reason they traded for him, but, like, this thus far in, like, he's been able to hit him on these weird, like, corner drive passes a couple times. He's definitely looking for him on the lobs. And again, it just fills another need that this team desperately needed.
I agree. Let's look at the NBA or the Western Conference as a whole. So right now, as the standings, you have the Thunder at 1, 3-game lead on the Spurs. And then you got the Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Wolves, Suns, Warriors. And then if you want to go there, Trailblazers and Clippers. So who do you think is going to have the best second half here? Like, who's really going to separate themselves? Like, do you think the Spurs could even make it up to the 1 seed potentially with all the injuries for OKC? Do you think that maybe Houston, they, like I said earlier, they have a really easy schedule, maybe they get up to the 2 or 3? Or do you think Phoenix has some staying power maybe to contend for one of these top 6 spots, which would be bad for the Wolves? And then also, where do you think the Wolves fit in on all of this? And I know it's an impossible question because the West, a couple games could decide everything, as it did last year. But who do you see going up and who do you see descending in the second half here?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I do think the Spurs are going to play hard in
Yep.
the second half. Like, I think that is a team just like Oklahoma City was 3 years or 2 years ago, I guess now. But like, I think that's a team that is looking to make kind of a statement, and I'm not sure Oklahoma City cares as much. I mean, it sounds weird to say that, but like, I think for Oklahoma City, it is far more important to make sure Keontae is healthy, Caruso's healthy, J-Dub's healthy, Shea is healthy. Like, I think for them, it's let's get into the playoffs at full strength, and then we'll flex our muscles again.
Right.
Denver, oddly think is in a similar like position where it's like, let's make sure Gordon, Murray, Jokic, let's make sure our key pieces are healthy going into the playoffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the Thunder and Nuggets kind of slow down a little bit just to make sure they're at full strength. I honestly kind of feel the same about the Rockets and Lakers. Like, the Lakers are an old team. They got it. If they do not go into the playoffs with Reeves, Luka, and LeBron healthy, they don't have a real chance just from a
Yeah.
depth perspective. So like, I think that's a team that, as long as they are in that top 6, are going to be resting guys. Houston, if Kevin Durant isn't healthy, I don't know what they can do in the playoffs. And that guy's had an injury history. Like, does it make sense to start sitting him on back-to-backs, kind of massage going into the playoffs? And that's where the dangerous side is, because like, that Portland team is hungry. That's Phoenix team is hungry. Like, Booker hasn't really been able to get to this point without a Chris Paul, or without a Kevin Durant, or without someone else on this team. And Portland like plays a really fun style of basketball, just up and down, great defense, a lot of length. I would be, the top 6 as it stands now, I'd be surprised if that's the top 6 going into the playoffs, just because, again, like, I think some teams are going to value that rest and health more than, is it really the end of the world if you're the 7 seed and you have to win a playoff game against like a Golden State team that doesn't really have anyone anymore? And that brings us to the Wolves. Like, I could see the Wolves finishing in the top 4. I could see them finishing at 6. I think if I had to bet on it, speaking of gambling, I would probably pick that they're going to be more in that 3 or 4 range towards the end of the season, just because like, health isn't as much of a factor for them. Like, they really haven't had to deal with a ton of injuries. I think Ant is, starting to finally feel okay. Julius has had a bunch of time to rest his foot. Like, Jaden's been healthy. Io's been healthy. Dante's been healthy. Rudy's been healthy. Like, they don't have the same kind of bumps and bruises. So, like, again, if I had to bet on it, I'd say they climb up maybe over LA and Houston and finish in that range.
Okay.
But I again, the teams that scare me are more the teams that are like on the outside looking in. Like Portland, if I'm LA, like I'm keeping an eye on Portland right now, because that team wants to win. Phoenix the same way, where it's like that team's healthy and they have a big chip on their shoulder. Like, those are the teams that can probably catch them.
Right. So if you were to bet, like you said, so who do you think? Because it kind of sounds like you think that Phoenix is going to sneak into the top 6 here, or honestly, the Clippers too. I'm not saying they're going to be top 6, but the Clippers have been playing unbelievably well since their start. And then the Kawhi factor as well. Who would you say falls if the Suns are in and it's not the Wolves that fall? Who would you say falls out of the top 6? Like, if you had to bet.
So I kind of did this earlier today where I was just like looking at schedules and stuff because,
Mhm.
slow day. Um, and I do think it's going to finish. And I came up with my end end of the year, like where I think it'll be on February 17th at 7 p.m. of like Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets. I think those stay the same. Might
Mhm.
get a lot closer as the end of the season finishes, but like I think those three are kind of locked in. I would take the Wolves at 4,
Okay.
and then I would say it's Rockets, Suns, and then the Lakers would be at 7.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay.
I do think the Blazers will have a really good chance to pass the Warriors. They're just, the Warriors are just so depleted right now that it's like they need Curry to go supernova for them to have a chance almost in every game. And the Clippers I still had like as that 10 spot of just I don't think they're, the Darius Garland trade, I think that's going to just take time to kind of work out. Kawhi has still just had such a weird career where it's like, is he really going to be playing 38 minutes the rest of the season? And then just the whole like vibe of the team, like between the Aspire controversy that's,
Mhm.
kind of took over All-Star weekend. I just usually when there's bad vibes, like it doesn't end well, which that's also kind of my reason for thinking Phoenix is going to sneak into the 6 and the Lakers will drop is just like that Lakers team just seems really weird. Like
Mhm.
it is so reliant on Luca, AR, and James that I don't know how you can when the games start to ramp up, I don't know how they're going to be able to all stay healthy.
Yeah. I don't know either because like you're mentioning a lot of injuries everywhere and obviously, things could knock on wood. Hopefully things don't go south for the Wolves injury wise. Hopefully we're not doing honestly down the stretch at least the Wolves have done extremely well for honestly being a pretty veteran team of
Mhm.
avoiding injuries overall. Like they really have particularly in the playoffs, they were completely healthy for most of it. I would say all of it. Like I don't think they missed out on anyone really in the last playoff run, and obviously the opposite for the Warriors. I actually think that the oh, we're getting a comment here. You can't hear any sound. Okay, we will look into that. I see people watching on YouTube, so some people are getting sound at least. But yeah, we'll look into that. But I think just with Kawhi, I think Kawhi might have something to prove. Like you said, it could go totally south with the it could go totally south with the allegations, but I don't know. I think the Clippers with okay, we're good. We're good now. Thank you, MN Wolves 180. Maybe you had the mute button on for sure. But thanks for tuning in there. But I think it, it could I think with the veteran team that they have, like I said, they could be injury laden. I think they could make a run, particularly with how well they're doing. Although I think Zubats is going to be a tough loss for them. Who knows? I do think they got a good haul for him, like a younger
Mhm.
Darius Garland. I almost like them better going forward with Garland than an older
Absolutely.
Harden and Benedict Mathurin. Take a flyer on him. They may have if he's good, they may have some room to sign him long term. But I don't know. It's as a Wolves fan, I always worry because as fun as the play-in was against the Clippers, like that was actually really fun. With the Kawhi year and the Paul George, I'm sick of the play-in, man. Let's just make the playoffs. I just want to watch the play-in in peace. Like I don't want to have to worry about it. Like it, I
I
just
mean, the other Clippers side of it that I think is like good context is like the Clippers don't own their pick this year. I think OKC has unprotected rights to it. So
which is
like
not fair.
it does not behoove the Clippers to lose. Um I completely agree with you. Like Matherin, I think is a good flyer. Like I have friends in Indiana that like the kid. I think he
Mhm.
has a shot. And then you also like Garland. I love that guy. Like I think moving forward with him into the future instead of Harden, like Garland's a better asset. But then you kind of see, they're kind of kicking the tires on buying out Batum or buying out
Mhm.
Lopez or buying out some of their rotation guys. And it's like they're just in a horrible spot because like
Yeah.
they can't tank this year. they have kind of half their roster turned over, and
Right.
the other half of them are like old guys that want to win. So could Kawhi drag him into it? Like, certainly. I mean, he is one of the best players in the world, but it's such a weird team in a weird situation.
Yeah, I wonder, looking back, if let's say it doesn't happen and the Kawhi saga doesn't go well, man, I wonder how that Kawhi trade is going to be looked at, because I mean he goes from Toronto, teams up with Paul George. They're thinking it's going to be great. And what did they win have they won a playoff series yet? Did they?
I think they won a playoff series.
It's just crazy, these super teams forming and them not working. Like this, the Brooklyn one is crazy to me. I mean, I remember when they got Harden, I was like, okay, the season's over. Like they're gonna win the championship. It's just some of them not. It's just not working. Like I said, I mentioned this on a past podcast. The blueprint for building a championship, at least recently. Now, obviously, during the LeBron and Curry years, you had, just build a super team around LeBron or whatever. But I feel like recently the blueprint has been draft your top guys, kind of build them, and then just make little tweaks around them. And I feel like that's the path the Wolves are going on, but we'll see if it works out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot more like football, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you try and get a guy on a rookie contract, or in the NBA, it's kind of scaled for super maxes. So you get a guy on the first max deal, kind of like Jaden, honestly. Like Jaden at 24 million is a steal considering what he brings to the team. But it seems like drafting a homegrown guy, or again, to the Clippers, take a guy like Mathurin and maybe he turns out to be good in a new system. A lot like how Shea, I think Shea had like all-star potential in LA, but he goes to OKC and now he's a superstar.
Yeah, that comment from MN was 180. Clippers destroyed their franchise, trading away SGA, and I totally agree. 100% agree.
I mean, from the Clippers side of it, I don't know if you can call it like a failure, because like if Kawhi is saying I'll only go there if you pair me up with another all NBA wing player,
right?
I think you got to, like, you get two of the top 15 players in the league together, you have a chance. It's just been all of the other things, like the constant injuries, the weird kind of Kawhi stuff where it's like his is reported quite a bit that like he doesn't use the LA Clippers medical staff. Like it's just so much weirdness around it that I think kind of sullied it. To your Brooklyn point, like I was the same way. Like when I saw what was teaming up there, it's like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, that's the East. You kind of look at like New York. I think they tried to do a super team. You look at like Brunson, Cat, OG, and Mikal Bridges. Like, I mean, that's a pretty darn good team on paper, but it just hasn't looked right, which maybe that's more to the point of like, it's more important to have like one or two of your kind of A-listers than a bunch of really good role players so that you get 7 guys deep.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, the jury's still out in the New York thing. They didn't end up trading for Giannis, so it could work out. They have looked good lately, but, and you're mentioning players traded away out of California that turned out to be world beaters. I mean, look at Tyrese Halliburton too. I mean, the Sacramento King. That's crazy to me. They had Fox and Halliburton, and currently neither of them are on the team. And I know we talked about the Kings last time, but it's baffling.
I feel so bad because like Pierre from Fox 9, who covers the Wolves games, is like a diehard Kings fan, and every time I see him, it's just kind of like, I'm sorry. Like I don't even understand the vision at this point. Like I don't understand what they're going for. It's just got to be so frustrating. Speaking of teams that like aren't tanking, like I don't know, that might be the worst situation, is a team that's trying not to tank but just consistently puts the wrong people in place. Because I mean, it kind of seems like that's what's going to happen with Sabonis now too, where like Sabonis gets moved and then wherever he goes to next is probably going to be awesome.
Yeah, right, for sure. I mean, he could fit in. He was just never going to be a 1 or 2. Like, he was
Yeah.
never in today's NBA. It's just not going to work. I mean, I would take Zubats over Sabonis, to be completely honest. In my opinion, I think it's close, but I would take Zubats over Sabonis. But yeah, no, it's interesting what they're doing with the Sacramento Kings, which, I was kind of hoping that rivalry would be sparked, because we kind of, going way back with the Wolves with Garnett. I mean, we did not like the Kings, like Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, Doug Christie. Like, you had that 7-game series, obviously. They were a little bit during that time, our Denver, a little bit for a small period of time, but it just hasn't worked out.
And then we signed Brad Miller and hired their coach, Rick Adelman.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like my high school basketball experience, was watching those teams. So like, it's just kind of a shame of like where it has gone for that franchise. Cause it just, I mean, I just looked it up. They're currently the worst record in the West, and they have DeRozan, Levine, and Sabonis. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, it's like hard for me to process. Like, how can that team be worse than the Jazz or the Pelicans when you have like, a future Hall of Famer in DeRozan, like a borderline all-star in Levine. And again, like you said with Sabonis, kind of regardless of like what you think of him, like that dude is a, borderline all-star every season.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think they would be able to put enough talent around it, but then it's just, they kind of, giving Keegan Murray a massive contract seemed weird. Dennis Schroeder this offseason was weird. Like Russell has this weird role. Like, it's just such a, like, I hope they're good at some point. Like, they got a fun stadium. Light the Beam is fun. Like, there's fun to be had in Sacramento. It's just, seems like they can't stop kind of stepping on their feet.
Well, that
walking towards a playoff bid.
That fun right now was watching Maxime Reynaud go off. Also, I saw he was actually when I went to that Portland game and then saw a stat line from Sacramento that night, or maybe it was the night after. You viewers can go back and watch if they want, but I was very high on Nick Clifford coming out of the draft. Like, I was like, oh man, he's a two-way player. He's older. Like, he can be like a Terrence Shannon Jr. Like for us, even though we already have one. He can play defense. He can hit the shots when you need to. Almost kind of be like a Jalen Clark in that way. He shot 1 for 15.
Yeah. It's tough. It's just such a weird. The West is just so weird because there's so many good teams, and then there's just kind of these eyebrow raising ones.
Right.
Like, I think the Pelicans are in that boat too, where it's like, what's going on down there? Like, are you really still in on Zion and Jordan Poole, or like, are you gonna pivot? You traded Dyson Daniels for like nothing. Like, what's kind of the plan? But
I mean, Derek Queen is good, but like, you may have passed up on Diabate at this point, or whoever.
Yeah, it's a weird time in the NBA. Like, I do. That we're getting off track a little bit, but with like the expansion talks of like, Seattle and Vegas getting teams, like, I do think like there is enough talent for there to be 2 more teams, but like, there's also just like these teams in the league that just can't help themselves almost from putting themselves in bad positions, which, I guess that shouldn't stop expansion, but it is interesting that, they might be able to just have good teams, or teams move to those cities instead of expand.
I will say this,
my pay grade.
Yeah. I will say this though, with the 2 places where it looks like there's going to be expansion. And by the way, all those people 3 years ago who were worried the Wolves were going to move, we were saying the whole time the NBA wants to expand, not move somebody. So I guess we were right on that. But I will say, I feel like in terms of competitiveness, obviously probably the first 2 years or so for the Sonics and Las Vegas might be tough or whatever. But I think teams or players are going to want to go to Vegas. Yeah. And I think players are going to want to be Supersonics. Just with the history, just with it's a cool city. I feel like that's not going to be as much of a worry as it would be if you put a team in Albuquerque or some Dover or something like that. I feel like I think that's the main draw is like, hey, we could get this new franchise and we may not get in the expansion draft, but free agency or trade, we may get, like a really good player to start his career here. So, or get his career going here.
Right there with you. Like Seattle has such a good basketball scene too,
Yeah.
like underrated basketball city, like gorgeous city. Like I'm still kind of shocked they haven't gotten a team sooner, but I
Yeah.
guess like when your team gets kind of stolen from you, it is what it is. And Vegas, like people are going to want to play in Vegas. I think
Yeah.
whatever organization that is, much like the Aces and the WNBA, has to be kind of careful on like what players they're bringing in. I think the Aces have really shown that, like, if you can target like really high character players, bring them in here, like you can have a lot of success. But like, I don't know if Vegas is a good playing career spot for everybody.
Right.
I do think like NBA just it makes sense to keep expanding too. Like St. Louis doesn't have a team. Like that's a big basketball city. Tatum came out of there. Like I think that would be a lot of fun. Like Mexico City. We have a Toronto team. Like why not branch down south of the border too? Like I do think there is. I don't think 32 teams I think makes a lot of sense. 16, 8 teams making playoffs out of each like conference, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more expansion like down the way, because
Right.
it just there's so many cities that are basketball cities that don't have a whole lot else going on. Like
Right.
there's nothing in St. Louis right now other than the Cardinals. Like if they
Right.
threw a basketball team down there, like bet it would draw.
If the NBA can succeed now, I know they had like Durant and they had Harden and they had all these players. Now they have Shea. If the NBA can succeed in Oklahoma City,
Yeah.
it can probably succeed anywhere. Like let's be totally honest on that. Honestly, how about bring back the Bobcats? Who else has Bobcats fever? But I like the Bobcat. Like I remember rooting for them. Like
Emeka Okafor and Gerald Wallace.
Screw it. What's one team? Because we're on this path anyway, so you might as well just keep going. What's one team other than the Sonics that you would like to see back in the NBA?
Oh gosh,
The Bullets.
I don't know if No, I was never like a Bullets. I will say I wish the Wizards would go back to like the early 2000s, like
Yeah.
light blue teal uniforms, like Gilbert Arenas, Jordan when he was there. Like I wish they would bring those back. Honestly, like I don't really have a team that I wish that would come back, but like I do. Like St. Louis is a city that I wish had a basketball team. Like I wish, like Golden State could go back to Oakland and kind of have that more kind of raucous crowd. There's things I just miss about the modern NBA
Right.
that I wish we could go back to a little bit, because like San Francisco is a fine basketball city. I know Golden State still sells out and all that, but like, man, those crowds when they were in their heydays in Oakland they're uncomparable.
Right. The team I will say won the Flint Tropics, obviously, and then the Providence Steamrollers. Let's bring the let's bring the Steamrollers back, because if they come back, I will buy their hat and wear it to every Wolves game. Like I would be number one. I may even start a Steamrollers podcast. Like
there's probably going to be a market for it if they're back.
Yeah, I mean Providence is a big market, right? Like yeah, it's on the East Coast. Well, we got a little off topic, but that's totally okay. I do want to mention I'm going to be on your show coming up on Friday after Wolves Mavericks. Early start, right? We're at 6:30, I believe. Is tip
I believe so. It's a weird start. 6:30.
Yeah. Do you think Cooper Flag plays, or do you think they're just gonna tank it for the rest of the like? The thing with Cooper, is the rookie of the year thing. So I honestly think if they may sit Cooper and they may just give it to Con Knipple, which you honestly deserves it. But I don't know what kind of Dallas team we're going to see out there.
Yeah, I mean, they also are half of their teams rumored to be buyout guys at this point.
Right, yeah.
Play. How many of those the older guys are even going to play, because they might be working out contract buyouts. it's going to be like, I'll say I hope Cooper plays.
Right.
One of my big things that like really bothers me is when opposing teams players rest when they're on the road. Like, if you're like a Minnesota fan and you want to see Cooper flag because your parents grew up in Delaware, like, or in Maine where he's from, like, it sucks that one of the two opportunities you could see to watch him play, he might be sitting just because of draft standing. But yeah, I hope he plays. I have not yet gotten the chance to really watch a ton of Cooper, so I'm excited to see him if he does. But if he doesn't play, hopefully the Wolves get some good practices in this week and come in with the right mindset, because
hopefully
that would be the perfect trap game if he's not out there.
Oh, absolutely. Particularly,
real quick.
No, go ahead.
According to Bleacher Report, Caleb Martin is out with an ankle injury. Daniel Gafford out with an ankle. Najee Marshall out with a foot. Cooper Flag listed as out with a foot. Kyrie with the knee and Lively with the foot. So
Kyrie's not going to play.
Might be a tough Mavericks team that's trotting out onto the floor.
If Dwight Powell beats us, I'm shutting down the podcast because he's been there forever.
Yep.
Like, he's been there through it. But yeah, so let's wrap it up there. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And Andrew, once again, tell everyone where they can find you on social media and the interweb and all that stuff.
Yeah, Dukemn, anywhere you follow social media, X, TikTok, Twitter. All my written works over on Zone Coverage. Post-game lives, missing Wolves for the Wolves, missing links for the links over on YouTube and on X after every game.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And as always, go Wolves.